Picture this. You walk into a sneaker store. The lights are sleek, the shelves minimalistic, the walls lined with shoes that look like they could belong in a museum. Your eyes land on a pair of limited edition Air Jordans, glossy, pristine, $250. What makes this pair of shoes worth so much? Is it just the famous swoosh, the celebrity endorsements? Or is there something deeper in the design, the materials, the labor, the innovation that justifies the price? Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Here on Discovery 4K, we take you behind the scenes of the world's biggest brands, the stories they tell and the stories they don't. Today we're uncovering the full journey of a Nike shoe, from design sketch to store shelf. Along the way, we'll explore not only the innovation and technology, but also the global supply chain, the sustainability efforts, and the controversies Nike has faced. Let's dive in. To understand Nike's prices today, we need to go back to where it all began. In 1964, Phil Knight, a young middle-distance runner and MBA student at Stanford, partnered with his coach, Bill Bowerman, to form a company called Blue Ribbon Sports. Their goal was simple: import high-quality running shoes from Japan, Onitsuka Tiger, and sell them in the US, to compete with German brands like Adidas and Puma. But things changed quickly. By 1971, after parting ways with their Japanese suppliers, they decided to build something of their own, a sportswear brand they named Nike, after the Greek goddess of victory. That same year, they commissioned a young design student, Carolyn Davidson, to create a logo. She was paid just $35 for the now famous swoosh, today one of the most recognized symbols in the world. Nike's early innovation wasn't just marketing, it was functional. Bowerman, always an experimenter, poured rubber into his wife's waffle iron to create a lightweight, grippy sole. This waffle sole revolutionized running shoes, helping Nike carve out its niche among athletes. Nike wasn't content with just making shoes, they wanted to define culture. In 1984, they signed a rookie basketball player named Michael Jordan. The result? The Air Jordan. This wasn't just a basketball shoe. It became a fashion icon, a statement, and the beginning of sneaker culture as we know it. Today, Air Jordans sell by the millions every year, with collectors lining up or paying thousands in resale markets to grab the latest drop. Beyond Jordan, Nike launched Just Do It in 1988, a campaign that mixed sports, emotion, and empowerment, pushing the brand beyond performance gear into the realm of lifestyle and identity. By the 1990s, Nike was everywhere, dominating sports, music, street fashion, and youth culture. Nike does not manufacture most of its shoes. Instead, it uses a global network of contracted factories, mostly in countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, and China. This outsourcing model allows Nike to scale massively. So, where does Nike's price tag come from? Beyond branding? A huge part lies in research and development. Nike pours millions of dollars into innovation each year. Think air technology, compressed air pockets and soles for cushioning, Flyknit uppers, lightweight, woven materials made from recycled fibers, React foam, super responsive cushioning for runners, ZoomX, Vaporfly, AlphaFly, technologies that push athletic performance to new heights. These innovations aren't cheap to develop, test, and market. Nike works with top athletes, runs lab experiments, and iterates over years before a technology hits the market. When you buy a high-end Nike shoe, you're paying for decades of performance research, not just raw materials. Let's break down the key stages of Nike shoe production. Design phase. Before anything touches a factory floor, the process starts thousands of miles away at Nike's headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon. Here, teams of designers and engineers gather in sleek studios, surrounded by walls covered in sketches, prototypes, material swatches, and mood boards. They don't just think about how a shoe looks, they think about how it will feel on an athlete's foot, how it will handle force, how it will breathe, how it will move. Using state-of-the-art 3D modeling software, they fine-tune every detail: the curve of the sole, the density of the foam, the placement of the swoosh, the stretch and tension of the upper material. Why does this matter? Because every fraction of a millimeter can change how a runner feels over 10 kilometers, how a basketball player pivots, how a tennis player explodes off the line. The digital tools allow rapid prototyping without the waste of endless physical samples. But make no mistake, the decisions here set the stage for everything downstream. Material selection. Once the design is approved, Nike works with sourcing teams to select materials. Modern Nike shoes are an intricate blend of lightweight mesh, synthetic or vegan leathers, EVA, ethylene vinyl acetate foams for cushioning, TPU, thermoplastic polyurethane or rubber for outsoles, fly-knit woven fabrics, often made from recycled plastic bottles. Each material must pass strict standards for durability. Can it handle thousands of flexes? Breathability, will it overheat the foot? Flexibility, does it move naturally? And increasingly, environmental impact. Nike has made bold claims in recent years. Over 50% of some shoe lines now come from recycled materials. But the reality on the ground is mixed. Sustainability is a moving target, and balancing it against performance, cost, and aesthetics is a constant challenge. Cutting and shaping. Now we enter the heart of the factory. Here, rolls of material, sometimes brightly colored mesh, sometimes solid rubber sheets, are stacked and loaded onto massive cutting machines. Automated blades, guided by pre-programmed patterns, slice each piece with razor precision. Watching the process is mesmerizing. Arms moving in mechanical choreography, shapes emerging like puzzle pieces from a giant fabric sheet. But even in this high-tech environment, human hands are everywhere. Workers check the cut pieces for defects. A slight miscut, it's pulled aside. They stack, sort, and prepare the components for assembly, keeping the workflow smooth and organized. This is where you realize, while Nike invests heavily in automation, it's the coordination between human skill and machine precision that keeps production running at scale. Sole production. Ask any Nike fan what makes the brand special, and many will point to the Air technology. Creating Nike's Air soles isn't just about pouring rubber into a mold. It's a sophisticated process involving thermal molding to shape the outer shell, pneumatic injection to trap and pressurize tiny air pockets inside. Each Air unit must be carefully calibrated. Too much pressure? It might burst under stress. Too little? It loses the bounce and cushioning Nike promises. Every batch undergoes durability testing, bending, twisting, compressing, sometimes under extreme temperatures to simulate months or years of wear. There's something oddly poetic about this stage, tiny pockets of air, invisible but critical, that transform a shoe from ordinary to exceptional. Assembly and finishing. If you imagine Nike shoes were entirely made by robots, this is where that illusion breaks. In the assembly lines, dozens, sometimes hundreds of workers operate in careful sequence. One worker applies glue to the midsole, another aligns the upper and presses it into place. Another trims excess threads. Another threads laces, adding finishing touches. Industrial sewing machines hum in the background, stitching swooshes, logos, and decorative details with impressive speed, but guided by human hands. It's hot, repetitive work, often done under intense production deadlines. In some factories, workers make hundreds of pairs per shift. And here's the uncomfortable truth. While Nike sets global labor standards and conducts audits, working conditions vary widely across supplier factories. And the pressure to deliver millions of shoes each year can create difficult environments. This is the human heartbeat behind every pair of Nikes. Skilled, fast, precise, but often invisible to the consumer. Quality control. The final guardian. Before the shoes leave the factory, they undergo strict quality control. Selected pairs from each batch are bent and twisted repeatedly to test flexibility, examined under bright lights for stitching defects or glue marks, checked for balance and alignment, ensuring no one shoe is slightly warped or uneven. Not every shoe is tested, that would be impossible at scale, but sampling helps catch systemic issues before they reach customers. Seeing this stage firsthand leaves you with a deep respect for the layers of precision and discipline baked into mass production. Packaging and shipping. Finally, the shoes are cleaned, packed into iconic orange Nike boxes, sealed and palletized. From here, they join a massive logistics network, trucks, ships, planes, crisscrossing the globe to deliver pairs to stores, warehouses, and customers. At this point, each shoe carries not just the weight of materials, but of global coordination. Designers in Oregon, suppliers across Asia, athletes testing prototypes, marketers shaping campaigns, retailers planning launches. Nike has positioned itself as a leader in sustainable innovation. Flyknit has reduced production waste by up to 60% compared to traditional cut-and-sew methods. Nike Grind recycles old shoes into new surfaces and materials. Move to Zero is the company's commitment to carbon neutrality and waste reduction. But let's be honest, sustainability in the fashion and footwear industry is complex. Fast-paced product drops, global shipping, synthetic materials, and large-scale marketing all carry environmental costs. Nike has made progress, but sustainability remains a journey, not a completed mission. One major reason Nike shoes are expensive has nothing to do with production, and everything to do with marketing. Nike spends billions on advertising, athlete endorsements, influencer collaborations, and cultural campaigns. From LeBron James to Serena Williams, from Billie Eilish to Travis Scott, Nike's partnerships turn sneakers into symbols of aspiration, identity, and status. Limited edition drops, scarcity tactics, and hype culture drive demand and allow Nike to charge premium prices. So when you buy a pair of $250 Jordans, you're paying not just for the materials or tech, you're paying for the story. Here's the big question: are Nike shoes worth the price? The answer depends on what you value. If you want cutting-edge athletic performance, carefully engineered tech, and designs tested by world-class athletes, Nike delivers. If you're drawn to cultural meaning, status, and identity, Nike delivers that too. But if you care deeply about ethical supply chains and environmental impact, you may want to dig deeper and ask tough questions, because behind every big brand, there's a complicated global story. Nike isn't just a sportswear brand, it's a symbol of innovation, performance, culture, and sometimes controversy. The next time you see a pair of Nikes on the shelf, remember, you're not just looking at a product, you're looking at decades of history, technology, marketing, labor, and human ambition, all packed into one pair of shoes. If you found this exploration insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Discovery 4K will keep bringing you the stories behind the brands you love and the ones you think you know. See you next time.